Hey, Nick.
Hey, Chase.
It's that time again.
What time is it?
Time for
Fuck This Place!
If I can just set that tone sooner,
I think you're right.
and then I think I'll just lose it. I'll keep it, and then I'll go bald, but I'll just have like the Carlin, like the skullet.
Okay.
Like I'm just gonna go that route.
Yeah, dude,
Keep
he
it
didn't
real
give a
long
fuck.
on the sides.
He's one of the only people that rock the skullet, as I can remember, especially in stand-up.
He
But
pulled-
want to clarify,
He made
though.
it work.
I
I
feel
don't know
like
why
He really
it
did.
worked
He
on
really
him.
did.
I feel
Bill Murray had like pretty wild, like balding guy hair. I think
That's
I can
true.
do that.
he had tufts.
Yeah.
But I think, well, just to clarify, like, I know, we can be cool and call it a skullet, but like, it's not a skullet. It's male pattern baldness.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
And refusing
for
to let
sure.
go of the hair that you have. I just feel like a skullet is like when it's clear that someone made a real,
See, I think
choice.
just calling him calling it a skullet to me is more negative than just calling it
Oh,
a
really?
bald guy. Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
A
That's fine.
skullet
I guess you're right.
sounds
Skullet-
like
nobody
a kind
does
of
that
a
on
burn.
purpose.
Like
Yeah, I mean, but there is something that you said, though, that it's like, I mean, I didn't think of him as like, oh, what a pathetic old man who won't let it go. It's just
No.
like, I think that's like, I think whatever you want to call it, he made it work.
Yeah,
It was
sure.
like, no one
his
was
whole
out there
thing
like
was
giving him
like,
shit
I don't
for it.
give a fuck. So
Yeah,
when that's your thing,
Yeah.
you can have like whatever any hairstyle,
Mhm.
really.
Mhm.
Any hair, no hair. Well, I guess I should introduce the podcast. Welcome to Fuck This Place, the podcast about jobs with Chase and Nick. My name is Chase.
My name is Nick, and with us today, fantastic comic, one of the best pure joke writers I've ever met. You've seen him on Conan 200,000 times because they
More
love
than
him over
Conan?
there. Yeah, more than Conan. But he is with us here today, the awesome Mr. Brad Wenzel. How you doing, Brad?
Good. Thanks for having me. I didn't even know we were recording. I hope I didn't say anything to offend the
we
Skullet
start in the
community.
middle sort of thing. Brad, I should also mention, is one of the godfathers of this podcast because
Absolutely.
Brad let us
Oh,
borrow
yeah.
his podcast equipment to run our first demo recording.
Mhm.
And we were
Look
like,
at
that's
it.
good enough.
Look at you now.
And I mean,
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
look at us.
Uh-huh.
I want
Three
residuals on
screens.
this bad boy.
They're coming, buddy. As soon as we get that Patreon up
Yeah.
and running, and I mean sprinting.
Hell
It's a
yeah.
free podcast, by the way. If you're listening, there's no Patreon.
Mhm.
Not currently, but maybe you're listening to
Could
this in
be.
the future.
Dude,
and there
write
is
us
one.
in. Ask for our Venmos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Text the podcast. Right. And we'll tell you our Venmo. I'll give you my social. I don't give a shit. But yeah, we're very glad you're here, Brad.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
I mean, anytime. Brad, we
Marathon.
might as well jump into our first segment, which we do on
Yes.
every podcast. Is a segment we call "Fuck This Place?" where we decide if we would work somewhere or not. You are
Fun.
originally from Monroe, Michigan. Is that correct?
People don't usually say it for that long, but yeah, that's
I was like, it's not Wisconsin. It's for sure
Uh-huh.
not Wisconsin.
it's just Monroe, Michigan, like a normal
Yeah, they say it. They
amount
say it
of
fast
time.
style. Yeah, like
Yeah,
they know
yeah.
where it is.
Like
it's
that's
north.
that. Like they have an extended "Welcome to" sign so that people can say it for that long.
It's like 3 billboards, like where you're building up to an exit with like special chili or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
Monroe, Michigan. Okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
it. Exit 6. We have looked up some Craigslist posts. They're not all from Monroe specifically, but they are Monroe centric, I guess. And so
Cool.
what we're going to do is we're going to look at 2 posts. So I'm going to read 3 titles. You're going to
Okay.
pick the one you don't want to look at, and then we'll look at the other 2, just like you're browsing Craigslist and you say, no clicky on that one.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm
one
just
of
gonna
them
read the
I'm
titles.
ruling out right
Yeah,
away.
one of them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just going to read the titles. First title, House Elf. Second title, Locksmith Trainee, which feels very
Ooh.
Midwest.
Yeah.
And last title is Need Remote Podcast Host Today for Academic Study, Any Topic. That's the full listing. So which one do you not want to look at? The House Elf, the Locksmith Trainee, or this podcast host remote academic study situation?
Well, because if it was truly like my personal life, if I was really looking for one of these jobs, I'd be like no to house elf.
Sure.
But I do want to learn
No.
more with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Well, that's
so
part of browsing
I'm
Craigslist.
keeping.
It's a combo of like what you're curious about and what you might want to do.
I'm very curious about that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say the locksmith one also on both fronts. I'm curious about because there are days, especially being a comic in the pandemic, where you're like, I should learn like a trade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
like I should-
Uh-huh,
And so locksmith would actually be a pretty cool one.
Mm.
And so it's gonna be so meta to talk about a podcast trial on a podcast that I'm gonna rule
that is
one
also
out.
recording remote. So
Yes,
Yeah.
that one's just there's so many layers there. I'm gonna rule out the podcast trial from Monroe.
that's fair. That's fair. Okay. And it would be a trial. There's no way that it went like an ongoing thing if they're asking for today. Let's take
So
a
weird.
look at
Oh
posting
wow!
number 1.
I didn't know you could even do that.
I'm
Chase
screen
just
sharing.
pulled up. Yeah. Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah,
we are
for
in
those
the
who are watching
future.
on our
Yeah.
YouTube, you can search us on YouTube, FCK, this place. We can't say fuck in Apple Podcasts. So we
Oh,
say
man.
FCK on every platform except for Instagram. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, we're screen sharing, but also you can listen. We'll describe everything that happens in the ad, so don't
Of
worry.
course.
So the title, again, is House Elf. And then there's no pictures or anything. It just goes straight into some text. And it starts with, I need an occasional hand around my house once more. Which, for some reason, once more fits in with the house elf.
Yeah, I feel it's
Yeah.
very whimsical talk.
Mhm, yeah. I feel like we're in
Ooh,
Harry Potter
whimsy.
1 or 2 or 3, not 4,
Yeah.
5, or 6. Okay, I need someone to carry laundry. This seems less whimsical. I need someone to carry laundry, load and unload the dishwasher, carry small boxes out of the basement, take out the trash, bits of yard work, semicolon, anything to do with getting things in order. No scrubbing or chemicals, no difficult jobs.
Okay.
I'll direct exactly what I want done. Okay. Now there's just another short paragraph and then it's basically over. I live alone. No shit. And just want to help with the manual labor. Strong legs, weak mind,
Whoa.
the ability to withstand dry jokes and puns. I hope that was the first one.
Ooh.
I'll even feed you most of the time. This could be a regular thing.
Wow.
And then,
Wow.
the last
Very
thing
cryptic
the ad
at the
says,
end here.
can you follow orders? Question mark.
Yeah.
Compensation is 15 an hour. That is the post.
This has got to be some
Wow.
sort of a secret message, right? Like
I don't.
it's-
I don't think it's a secret message. I think this person. I mean, okay. Let me back up. There's a lot hidden in this, but I don't. I think the message is plain. I want you to clean and do shit at my house when I tell you to do stuff. But I think that there's a lot going on. You know, this isn't a person who says like need maid or need maid's probably not the right word. Need like house cleaning Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 hours a week. You know what I mean? Or two
Yeah,
hours
sure.
a session, or, you know, or I need someone weekly to clean up my, you know, whatever. This person wants you to come and do a lot, but I think really they want you to come and hang and also do more than just hang.
I mean, they're doing everything they can to say they want a slave because, like, the
Yeah,
other thing about
That's what a house elf is.
Yeah, the
other
house
thing
elf was kind of a red flag.
like the other thing is like about the normal looking for some kind of like help around the house posts is they tell you why they need the help. They it's either implied that they're just rich and lazy, or they talk about how busy they are. They talk about someone in the house that has some sort of a handicap where they need help. There's nothing here that implies that this person couldn't do it themselves. It sounds like they just want to watch you walk around and make fun of you while they're like,
Yeah. Because the first like paragraph, I was like, this doesn't sound that bad, and it's pretty specific, which I like. It's like, look, I can't tell you exactly what chores on what day, but it's not that hard. It's just like I need someone to do like household things. But then the second paragraph is just this wild turn where they start like negging you.
yeah.
Strong legs, weak mind.
Strong legs, weak mind.
Yeah.
And then I'll feed you if I feel like it. You need my slop, you fucking moron. Like, and
They should have
this
used
could be a
slop.
regular
I will
thing.
say, okay, I agree with you that there's a turn in the second paragraph, but I would actually like to think that the real meat. The first paragraph has a turn too, and it ends with "I'll direct exactly what I want done." And again, the exactly in that sentence feels very much like maybe you should jump right now, huh? Don't you want to jump?
Is house elf like code for like a sex thing?
That's what I like. That's kind of like I was going to get to that. If at any point he had mentioned something female specific, like need a like. So like sometimes there'll be a post that mentions looking for like a petite woman or something, like there'll be just one little thing. Yeah. And if that had been this would have been filed under our other game of dumb or murderer that we about posts we find like, you know, so it's like, I wondered if this was like a sex thing too. To your point real quick, Chase, the exactly in that sentence also kind of turned me off, but also the word want in that sentence turns me off because that's no longer about help, because help you would say exactly what I need. You're right. Want is just sounds like this is for fucking funsies.
Yeah, want is like I need you to polish this silver.
You know what really like broke, because there's so many red flags in this, and I mean I of all people like enjoy dry humor, but when it said and puns, I was like I'm out.
Yeah, I agree.
This is going to be too mentally taxing.
Yeah,
like if someone's this mean. And then on top of that they're like, and I'm hilarious, by the way. I think that's my brain. Like I think I could put up with the like you just got strong legs and a tiny brain, because like maybe who knows what, maybe they're like feeble and that makes them feel better. Could be like anyone who could do chores is weak-minded. But I'm not gonna listen to your puns.
I also feel that anyone who advertises a pun, you know, it's fine if you're good at puns, you know, but you if you're good at puns, and I mean, it's a bit harsh, maybe you should be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
And if you should slip them in whenever
organically.
You can.
Fine,
no
that's
biggie.
Your personality. But when you like are leading with just so you know, gonna be a lot of puns.
That means it's gonna be a fuckload of puns.
Too many puns.
This whole thing implies that you're just going to be washing dishes after breakfast and he's going to be like, you stupid idiot, you're not even doing those fucking dishes correctly. But I will say that omelet you made was excellent, and then like walks away. It's like, and that just sounds like hell to me.
And what is listed here, like, what do you even need your legs to be strong for? Like, this is almost all upper body chores.
It
like
carrying
laundry.
I will say honestly, here I will say some things in this list. Again, it feels like it's a regular list. Carry laundry, okay, fine. Load and unload dishwasher, okay, like again, okay. But carry small boxes out of the basement. Like how often do you need stuff to come up? And the reason, you know, for the most part you have a basement is because like, oh, I don't need this, but yes, sometimes I do, right? How often?
You know why? Because they're incinerating other house elves.
You just carry
they need you to carry
ashes.
Them away. Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
is that the word? Incinerating?
Incinerating?
Incineration.
Is that the right
yes.
word? Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
It just seems like the list is too big. like if you were like, I need cleaning, right? But this is like, do my fucking laundry, do yard work, you know. And this isn't just like picking up sticks. Like if you're saying yard work, it's like, I'm gonna need you to get some soil. You're gonna be digging, you know.
This isn't like picking up sticks. This isn't picking up sticks, all right?
They use the word.
I'm trying to think of like a very like the lightest.
They use the term bits. That could mean light. Bits of yard work.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, picking up sticks. Got it.
But I just think this is if you say bits of yard work, at bare minimum you're mowing the lawn, you know. And no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that for and it's like you're all sweaty and you're just like, I really wish I could have a Gatorade, and you come inside and it's just you just get slapped right in the face with a pun, and it's just like I got better things to do.
Yeah. I'm out. I feel like this person is a nightmare and probably thinks they're not, you know, like probably thinks they're cool.
That sums it up very well.
Yeah. You know,
anyone who puts weak mind in their want ad is probably not awesome to be around.
Yeah.
I will.
Shocker! This person doesn't have any relatives to help them
out. or even just acquaintances that they've coerced into being around them long enough that they could do work together. For instance, we'll call it on that one. Fuck that place. Okay, so Post number 2
Here we
is
go.
locksmith trainee. Very subservient pair that we have here. Okay, so locksmith trainee, no pictures, but it does begin with text, and it is in all caps, and it says, "The owner had 2 strokes. We need someone to take over. So we need someone to take over. We will not hire anyone south of 8 Mile Road." Okay, pause. Is this the 8 Mile? Is this Detroit? Is this Eminem's 8 Mile?
The thing about 8 Mile that people don't understand if they're not from Michigan is like, because of that movie, people are like, oh, 8 Mile, Eminem's neighborhood. But 8 Mile runs for like miles and miles and miles and miles, like across several cities. Like it goes forever. It's like if Eminem made a movie called like 29th Parallel, and everybody was like, oh shit, that's a tough parallel. And it's like, no, that could mean anything. That's such a long stretching thing.
Oh man.
Like,
that's
so,
classic,
but that is a
I just want to pause for a second
here.
That is a classic Brad Wenzel joke and comparison. And I just want to say, well distilled, sir.
Crushing it.
That could be anyone. That could be anywhere. That's wild. Okay, so they will hire an Eminem, so long as they just say they're south of, is it seventh mile? What if couldn't you lie? Anyway, we'll get to the rest of the post.
That is how it works. There's like 7 Mile.
Okay, got it. And I see East 10 Mile Road on the map here.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, the owner. Okay, we'll get back to the strokes in a minute. I need someone that knows something about locks or locksmithing. Must live north of 8 Mile. Okay, we got that. Must have a driving record and police record. I think you want to not have one, by the way.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You must be from within 15 minutes of 9 Mile and Hayes area. So let me know where you are from. All caps, by the way.
Yeah, let me know where you are from at.
And then I am looking, the formatting here is wild. I am looking to retire and looking for someone to take over. Only reply if you can take a lock apart and put it back together again. Please send me your resume. You must get your own police and driver's record. ... Must be able to work alone. I don't pay any cash. All pay will be my company check. ... We work for 5 properties management companies, and I have to master key their locks. Okay. Board up any broken windows. Kicked in doors, that's all. And the conversation is, we'll talk at the meeting or we'll shout at the meeting. And that is the post.
Wow. The longer it goes on, at a certain point, you're like, what do I even need you for? It's just like, like, I'm a locksmith. If you're a locksmith, you do my job and then I stop. He's very obsessed with turf. I don't know if turf is big in the locksmith community. He's very specific about the location.
I think that, otherwise it's, like classism, so I really hope that there's like, if you fucking live 20 minutes from 9 Mile, you could get hurt by my ex-wife, who is also a locksmith, and we have split the territory, and you could get your fucking femurs broken. Maybe
his typo about having a police record versus not having a record is like, maybe that's not a typo. Maybe he's like, you need some like grit. You need some dirt on you if you're going to be changing locks. With my crew on my very specific turf. You need to be, you need to be kind of a badass.
What I want to know is, if you take out that line, the owner had 2 strokes, does this post lose anything? Like that information went nowhere. I don't need to know that the owner is maybe dead.
That is, they opened big with that, and then never went back
to it. Yeah, never went back to it.
Never went back to it. And
so who's writing this, by the way?
That's what
the owner had 2 strokes. I want to retire, but he had 2 strokes. I am not the owner.
Okay, here's my guess. This is the manager. This is operations manager. This is like this is the number 2 at the company, right? if you call this a company, we don't know. But this is number 2, certainly, right? There's an owner, right, who apparently did. Again, we don't actually know what the owner did because it seems like this person did a lot because they have the master key. Anyway, what I'm saying is, I think they're number 2, and they're looking to retire to replace them. But like, then do you have to deal? Like, I'm very sorry for this owner for having 2 strokes. But am I becoming? Is this like the Santa Claus? Like, are we?
Yeah.
Am I the new owner, or am I the new number 2?
It never occurred to me that, like, if you're a locksmith, landing like an account with a property management company, that's huge.
Yeah,
then you're just unlocking people's doors at an apartment complex all the time, and you're like, I'm the guy. I'm their guy. I never thought about that. That's not super funny necessarily. I just like this insight into the locksmith community and how that works.
Absolutely. Nick,
I'll do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the job.
Okay. All right.
I was just saying that. I was just like looking at it, how it's all written, and it like just giving the owner something to do. Like, the owner had 2 strokes, and he was the only one that knew how to take caps lock off the computer.
It just turns on and off now. I have no idea.
Have you guys ever had to use a locksmith?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got locked in a bathroom at an open mic in Denver once.
Okay.
Like, full on trapped in a bathroom, and they had to call a locksmith to let me out.
Wow.
Why? Why did they didn't have a key? Or what happened to
the door? Like, malfunctioned. And I went into the bathroom, and then no one could open it. Like, it like something malfunctioned in the lock.
Quick question though: had you been on stage yet?
No.
Oh man!
And then because I was literally passing through. I was on my way to Los Angeles, and I was like, we stopped in Denver for a couple nights to stay with friends. And so I was like, I'm gonna hit an open mic because I haven't been on stage because we've been driving and all this stuff. And so I went to this open mic to be like, I'm gonna be like in and out. I just want to get on stage.
Yeah.
And then I got trapped in this bathroom and was like live tweeting it. And like, I got trapped, and the owner was like trying to like sliding me notes under the door. Like, I'm so sorry.
And you were just sliding back your set. Like,
yeah. And then
putting your jokes on the
eventually
door.
they called the locksmith. They let me out. But the most upsetting part of the whole ordeal was like, I went up and like nobody thought it was weird. Like, everyone was so jaded that I was just like, I'm the guy who was trapped in the bathroom for like a half hour. Like, remember the locksmith let me out like with a toolbox, and everyone was like, and so I just bombed at this mic, and then I was like, okay, it's not weird.
Right. Man.
But that's my only locksmith experience.
I have a quick question. Why was he couldn't just talk to you through the door? He was like sliding you notes.
I think she was trying not to disturb the open mic by yelling through the door. So that's why she was sliding me notes.
It was just like she just slid a note that just said like, "Are you mad at me? Check yes." Check no.
It was funny. Yeah. She like,
are you live tweeting this?
She like smashed like a brownie and slid it under the door. Like, it was pretty funny.
Like in an envelope.
Yeah.
I like the idea that, this is like one of those weird venues where like the bathroom just comes straight onto the stage and just beside it the whole time, and still nobody thought it was that weird. Like, oh yeah, this happens every fucking week. Some idiot noob closes the door.
Comics though, fuck those comics. I do not miss stand up. I don't miss it for 1 second. Fuck
it was also like, maybe it would have been funny if I was like a local comic, but I like couldn't have been a more of a drifter in that situation. I literally was like, I'm just popping into this random open mic, gonna do it and leave. And then so now it's
popping
like,
in as a national headliner.
That was crazy. Yeah, but no one knows that. It's not like I was. It's not like I was in there like pounding on the door like, I've been on Conan.
Oh, that would have been really good.
That's they're slipping on the notes like, hey, did I see you on Conan? And I think or it could have been a real bonding moment, that like somebody got locked in the bathroom and it happened all the time.
That's what I was expecting. I thought like when I do get out here and go on stage, like people are just gonna be like eager to hear anything I say, and people were like completely over it.
Yeah, they stopped paying attention at minute 2 is my guess, and just watch the rest of the mic.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, you don't have to save someone from that embarrassing situation to essentially just go and bomb their dick off. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna say I'm afraid of who this person is. So I'm gonna say no, just because whoever I am is, looking to retire. I honestly don't think I've got this. You have a point, Brad, in that like learning a trade is a good idea, and locksmith doesn't sound like a terrible one. It's not like electrician where like there's a lot of, I'm sure there's danger, right? But like electrician's like you could get electrocuted.
Yeah, locksmith. I think if I had to learn one, like locksmith might be it.
I'm tempted, but I'm still gonna say fuck this place because I'm afraid of interacting with whoever this person is who can or can't turn caps lock off.
This post reads no different than a comedy booking email, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm out. I don't want to have two strokes.
Could have been related to the
whatever happened to the owner, that's happened to him.
Job.
Yeah. Fair. All right, well, fuck that place. What's up, everybody?
What's going on, guys?
Wanted to remind you that you can text the podcast anytime you want.
Night or day, whenever the hell you want.
It's fine. It's the number is 470-BAD-JOBS. The actual numbers are 470-223-5627. That's the number.
So yeah, anytime you want. Like I said, middle of the night, whenever. We don't got jobs right now. Whatever's going on with you is going on with us.
I mean, absolutely. Maybe you still have a job and it's like shitty. You can tell us about that. Maybe you don't have a job and it was shitty before.
Maybe you're getting one of those weird like temperature forehead checks right now.
For sure.
You want to pull out your phone and just say, you know what, fuck you guys. I'm going to text 470-BAD-JOBS.
470-223-5627 is the number. That is the number. And you can also call us if you want, but I mean, whatever. It's your choice. That's the point here.
Brad, what's the first job you ever had?
The first job I ever had was working at a golf course. I was a cart kid, is what they were called.
Cart kid?
Yeah, I basically would wash golf carts with a hose and take the garbage out. And that was the bulk of it. And then I kept that job for like 8 years. So that was like...
you were like a cart man when you left.
I did, like, because I moved up from cart kid to ranger, which is like you're like the authority of the golf course, which was insane.
Of the golf
I was
course?
a teenager.
You were like, I went from cart kid to gladiator.
Yeah. And so I would have to like confront like drunk old men and like make them stop doing things. I was like like 16, like rolling up. Like, hey, could you guys? It's 11:30 at night. Could you guys please come in and go home? It's been dark.
You had to do that like at nighttime. You would have to round up the drunks
when the sun would go down. It's like, come on, you guys, you gotta bring it in. And different could be received like totally chill. Like, oh, I'm sorry, man. We'll come right in, or like, fuck you. Like it could go many ways. The bulk of people were cool, but I definitely got yelled at many times.
Let's back up because like this is really funny. But like, so you said you were 16 when you started the job, or 15?
No, I was 14 when I started.
When you were a cart kid.
Yeah, I was in 8th grade.
Okay, and then why did you get this job? Why did you?
I lived across the street from this golf course. And it was a public golf course. Like it wasn't like a crazy like country club situation. It was the people who lived across from us had a sod farm, which is they sell grass.
Yeah. And
then they turned a big portion of that sod farm when I was very little into a golf course.
Because they couldn't sell the sod, or
no, they just had like had space, and they were like, we're gonna open a golf course. And they did. And then my mom worked there for a period of time when I was little. And then so between my mom having work there and then being like neighbors, essentially, that's basically how I got the job. My mom was like, you're doing this job. Yeah. Because I still the dude, their son, who it was like a family business, and their son, who was older than me, he was in his 20s and stuff when I was that age. And I still see him. He still comes to shows when I go do shows in Michigan. But he always jokes about how like god awful I was in my interview because I was 14 and I like didn't really want the job, but knew I had to do it. So how do you interview for a job you already have but don't really want?
Yeah. Well,
so
I mean, like, do you remember like what specifically he thought you were bad at? I mean, like, I get that you were bad.
I think I was just giving like, and I'm also like 14, so I'm like brain dead. And I think I was just giving like very like short, like one word answers because I'm like, I don't know. Like, they're like, why do you want this job? I was like, my mom said I have to come over here. I don't like what like what
it's 3:00 and my mom told me to
I
like,
think on some level
leave.
It's like, why do we have to do this dance? You and I both know our moms have spoken about this.
Yeah.
Like that like you need these cards cleaned. I'm gonna do it. Like
Yeah.
Like,
and if you don't like anything that I do, you can talk to the ultimate authority in my life.
Yes,
who will make me do it.
I'm not gonna fuck up at this job because our moms know each other. Like I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
That was one thing. Like I realized after that, like I never want to work for like a family business because you are emotionally invested no matter what. You always want to do a good job because you're like, this is somebody's business and I know them. Whereas if you work for like a corporation, you're like, fuck them. Like, there's like a degree of separation that I think is nice to have because then you don't have like this like I really didn't want to screw up.
Yeah. And you worked real hard.
I did. Even though I bombed my interview, I did like a good job.
So he was like, all right, Brad, how did you hear about us? And you were like, I live right there.
Yeah, exactly. I literally, that might have happened.
And so you got the job and he says, all you got to do is clean up golf carts. How I understand that it could be gross, but how dirty can these golf carts get? Really?
Especially if it like rained or anything, they could get, or had like rain the night before, they could come in completely caked in mud, like completely covered in mud. And you had in mud. Okay. You could, and you'd have, and then the people, when you're golfing, you're wearing golf shoes and you get out into the mud, like into the dirt,
like all the little dirt clods,
and then that gets all, and you do that about 100 times. Right. So the floorboards just get like completely covered in dirt and mud, and the wheel wells, if it was wet out, just get full of grass.
Right. That's what I was expecting was grass clippings.
They're
I'm surprised by the mud.
Yeah, cutting grass, and then like between the golf shoes and the grass, loose grass, it just gets like super dirty. If it was like super dry out, they wouldn't get. It would be more like dusty. Right. But you had like this high-powered hose, not like a fire hose, but like this high-powered hose, and you would spray everything out, and then people just had tons of trash because you would just have guys with like 100 empties just like packed into every possible crevice of the golf cart, and you
just
would
these
clean
heroes.
all that. And then sometimes
they're like trying to build their own cart out of Bud Light cans.
If there was like a golf outing, everyone tees off on a separate hole at the same time, and then everyone finishes golfing at the same, like a regular day golf carts go out and come in one at a time.
Right.
At an outing, they all start on every hole at the same time, and then they all finish. So then it would just be like that scene in Lion King with the wildebeest, where just every golf cart was just coming from the horizon, and you were like, we're about to get like swamped with golf carts.
And by then, is that when you're like a ranger and you're like, buckle up, kids? Or like, I guess like how alone were you?
You would usually be with like, rangers are typically old dudes, like retired old guys.
Oh, okay. We'll talk ranger.
Typically, you would be like a car kid. You would have like a kid, like a teen, and like an old man. And like the old man would be
like
out.
A Rick and Morty situation.
Yes, and Morty would be out patrolling the golf cart course. Then when all the carts came in, they would come in and like help you deal with all the trash and carts, and
But
you had
typically
the
it's just one kid.
what? Yeah,
That's the cart
yeah.
kid.
And then if it was like a big outing like that, you'd have like 2 kids. You know,
Uh-huh.
Right.
maybe. But that's pretty much. But my favorite thing was picking the range because I didn't have to talk to anybody. So you would go out in the cart with like the cage on it and pick up all the golf balls from the driving
Oh,
range.
Right,
and
right, right,
people
right.
could like try to hit you and stuff,
Of course,
but you were in
and
a
you're
cage.
just like, great. Oh, yeah,
And
shit.
but that was the best because I could just put in headphones
Mhm.
and just like do a task that like was very. It was almost like playing Guitar Hero, like
yeah.
driving around and just hitting all the balls with this like mechanism that picks
Mhm.
them up.
Mhm.
And so it was like super entrancing.
Yeah.
Couldn't get yelled at, and that was my favorite thing
And
by
there's
far.
always more balls, just like
Yeah, and then you would wash the golf balls, and because they would get covered in grass, and that was the best thing because I was like, it was like solitude.
The way you talk about it's like, oh yeah, 8 years. I get it. 8 years.
Yeah, you could have
That's
retired.
what when
you
Nick
know?
was like, do the show. I was like, I've barely had any jobs because I just kept that one job.
Because I had that one
I mean,
beautiful
8 years
job
is
just
a
listening to Bob
long-
Steger.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
extremely
obviously I had the
long time.
winters and stuff off because it's a golf course in Michigan, but
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I kept I knew how to do that.
I can see how your interview went great. I knew how to do
Yeah,
that.
at the end of it, I'm like, I did it. I knew how to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. I
They
just
were-
like
that was-
imagine.
Burning cardboard, also sweet. Great
Mhm.
part of the job. One of my
Mhm.
favorites.
Mhm.
You would fill. They would produce all this cardboard from the clubhouse, from all the food and stuff.
Mm.
You'd break down all these boxes, shove them into like a ton of boxes, pack them into a golf cart,
Mm.
drive that out to like a burn pile area, and then just fucking light up.
Uh-huh.
And
Mhm.
that's a good gig for like a 15-year-old kid. Just
Hell yeah.
burning piles and piles of cardboard. That's good stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was gonna say back to the interview. Your the guy interviewing you was like, "Do you think you could just drive around aimlessly for 8 hours?" And you were like, "Huh?" And he was like, "Oh, perfect." Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Could you burn cardboard? You're like, "I guess." He was like, "Nice, got it."
Yeah.
Man, I was thinking about you like in March, just like sitting there, just like dreaming about those cardboard burning Zen days where you're just picking up. Like, it sounds like there was quite a lot of variety. Like, I guess this explains the 8 years that like you could just do. It was like, was it every day was kind of different, or was it like you do stretches of like I'm cart kid for a while? I mean, like,
Yeah, I
how
think I
often
was
you get to
probably
burn stuff?
cart kid, like, and there's so much overlap between those two jobs.
Of
But
course.
I think I was like a cart kid for probably 3 or 4 years, and then those back 4 years because then I had like all the seniority.
Uh-huh.
And so then I would be like, and then I also along the way started stand up. So
Right.
then by the time I was like 4 or 5 years in, I had all the seniority. So I was like, I'm only going to work in the morning so I can do stand up at night.
Mm.
And the dude who interviewed me was like very supportive of that. So
Mhm.
it became like a good gig to have because I was
Yeah.
like, as long as I can get my shit together by 7 a.m., like I'm
Yes.
cool, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I would be like, drive like 90 minutes to Lansing, Michigan and do this show that it was a mic, but it had like a crowd.
Yeah.
And I'd drive there on like Monday night and the show starts at like 10 or 11 or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
I would do the show. It'd be fun, get all the adrenaline. And then you'd like roll in at like 1:30 and be like, oh, I got to wake up at 6:30 and run across the street. So I did that for, many years.
So once you were the ranger, you said there were people under you. What did you have to do with like, what your responsibility as the ranger is to.
You're basically babysitting old men,
Okay.
Mhm.
like old people, like because so the ranger, you're trying to make sure no one's like holding up the golf course, but
Oh right.
the bulk of it is making sure you have a clipboard with all the tee times printed out,
Mhm.
and your job is to make sure people go off in the correct order at the right
Right.
time. They're
Right.
like, I don't know, 10 minutes apart or
Mhm.
15 minutes, I don't remember.
Yeah.
So you're basically stopping old people
From going
like
where they're not
kindergartners
supposed
from
to,
cutting each other in line and getting like mad at each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a big part of it. And then you would fill in all the gaps with like picking the range, burning cardboard, filling water coolers. And then all those carts that you sent off in the morning would come in and then you'd wash them. So when I became like a ranger, I was usually working alone.
Got it.
Because I would just do like both jobs.
Damn.
But the worst was when I was like super young and they'd be like, you got to go talk to those guys. Like there's someone like causing a fuss on number 9 or whatever.
Who is telling you to come in to be like, hey, you're the ranger. You have to stop this old guy.
Well, that's what was
drinking
so
Palmers.
funny is people would call the clubhouse. And then the people working in the pro shop would then get word to me that something was amiss. But sometimes it was like a young woman working that job. So then it kind of like made sense to me that I'm like, of everyone here, I'm the person to confront these drunk old men.
Yeah.
But then other times it would be like a grown man working. And then I'd be like, why am I like the authority? They're not going to want to listen to me. And then I would, but stuff happens.
Yeah, you get a call. He's just like, hey, yeah, this is Big Mike here at the pro shop. I need your help, Brad. It's like,
yeah,
but you're Big Mike.
But you're Big Mike. Yeah, you're
Mike. Come on,
you're in there doing curls, and I weigh 90 pounds. Yeah, but yeah, it was a bit. I definitely got screamed at that job, and I think that is bad, but it's good for you. Like I'm good in every customer service situation for the rest of my life after that, because if you haven't been yelled at over something you have no control over, then you'll never do that again. And then you would be like, also you recognize in everyone who does that they've never had a job where they had to deal with the public,
or worse, they have and they're just pieces of shit.
But I think people who get yelled at are like learn that, like
most of them.
I
would say most of them, but I'd say that the worst yellers of all time are the ones who will, in the middle of their yelling, will say like, I used to be a waiter and I always, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I guess that is true.
The worst person.
I'm giving them too much benefit of the doubt that I'm like, you're just ignorant, but you're like, no, they're monsters.
I want
to stress though, it was a good gig. I'm very grateful for that.
I was gonna say that I would stress though that like the third layer of like the person who goes and I'm gonna have to switch my lighting, it's too dark here, but the person who really goes dark too. I used to be a waiter, like because I've been there too, and I always want to be like, okay, how long?
Exactly.
Oh, you're gonna throw you're gonna try to big dick me on experience here. Okay, tell me about my job then, bud. Tell me how it goes.
We're gonna go marry the ketchups or what?
Well, I'll be right back.
There was funny because there would be like the one dude who was like in charge of like the grounds, like in charge of like
I was gonna say, what's your relationship to that
all
guy?
The grass. And he was funny because like you're basically like two completely separate entities. Because that was the thing too. The other reason I think I was like knocked out my job well was my brother was on the grounds crew, and that's like manual labor, like mowing, weed whacking, all this stuff. And so I was like, dude, all I gotta do at my gig that I pays the same is like hose off carts and pick up, like I'm just gonna like crush this and I'm not gonna do manual labor. And because he was big and I wasn't, so it was like that was like how everyone looked at us. They're like, he's Hoss, put him in the trenches. He's like 90 pounds. He's 14. Let him. And then I just like kept that job because I didn't screw up. And then the groundskeeping guy was funny because he was just a funny dude and he was very nice. But he also like whatever like chaos, not that there was a lot of chaos, but whatever was going on at golf course didn't matter to him. He's just worried about grass.
Absolutely.
Like stuff like that. Like he's in a different realm and fixing the carts and fixing the equipment. And so he would just be like, how's it going, Bradley? And I would be like, this is all designed to fail. This is like they double booked everything. It's like insane. I can't control it. He was like the one person I could be like 100% honest with.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "It's a nightmare today. It's a total nightmare." And then he would just like laugh and drive away.
You're like, well, grass is looking good. See you later.
Yeah, bye.
You're on hole number
He's
30.
good. He's a good dude. Yeah, everybody there who worked there was super nice.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a pretty great situation because you worked there for 8 years.
Yeah.
Man.
Are you good, Chase?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Brad. So that was your first job ever. What would you say is your worst job you've ever had?
Also that job. No, actually I wouldn't say that. I drove Lyft and that was way worse. Picking your hours was cool. That flexibility was cool, but everything else about that I hated.
Yeah, everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. I did not get any material out of it, as everybody would constantly ask me. It was stressful and bad, and like it's a racket, and I was like barely. I spent like thousands and thousands of dollars to like make a couple $1,000, and like by the time I was done, I was like, had I just gotten a regular job, I would have been so much better off. But I was in this weird place in comedy where I was working enough that I couldn't really have a regular job, but also I was completely running out of money.
Yeah.
So it was.
Yeah, you were performing enough in comedy.
No, but I was doing the road. Like I was headlining on the road, but then you have like 5 weeks of nothing.
Right.
And so living in LA, it was like I had enough road work that I would leave too much.
Sure.
But so I was like, oh, Lyft is perfect because I can like work when I want to. But then like once you learn everything that goes along with it, you're like, oh, this is a scam. This is like them preying on like working class people. This is shitty.
Yeah.
Fuck Lyft.
Absolutely. 100%. I'll say that.
See what I mean? Like the healthy separation between like a family business and a corporation. Where like, I just want to stress they're all really nice. If I run into them at Christmas, they're all really good people. I'm really grateful for the gig. And I'm like, Lyft, fuck Lyft.
There was like 19 people maybe who worked at that golf course thing. And there's like 19 million people that work for Lyft. You're saying fuck every one of them. And I agree.
How long were you at work, or how long were you doing Lyft for?
About a year. So not even that long.
Yeah.
That's a long time to be somewhere you
on
hate,
and
though.
off for a year, I assume, right? Because you go out and come back. Or
yeah, but it was like what I had to get like special car insurance that was crazy expensive because I got like a car basically because I like it's nice to have a car in LA, but I was also I'm gonna get this car, I'm gonna use it to drive Lyft, like this is my scheme. And it was like a bad scheme. Like it was I shouldn't have done it. And I still have the car, which is nice, but like at a point it was super stressful too because I never had like a new car. So I'm like, this is the most valuable thing I've ever possessed, and now I need to drive around LA like quickly with like annoyed people. Very stressful. And I don't even remember what the question was, but I did for like a year.
I just like you have a new car. It's like first best thing you've ever had, and then like you just fucking grind it into dust.
People. I drove it really hard for like a year, and then I stopped. And now I put like so little miles on it because LA's, if you're not doing that, LA's you don't have to drive far.
Yes.
And so it's like I like put like 20,000 or something on like year one, and then just like stop
everything.
I was say like you're like you get this brand new car and you're like, oh, this is my baby, it's so nice, and immediately someone gets in there like, hey, can you go fast? I got to take a dump.
100%. Hey, I need to be at LAX in 4 minutes, and this is your fault. And you're like, why did you leave 4 minutes before your flight? I had like a girl vomit in there. I got in a car, like a fender bender. It was terrible.
Wait, girl vomit. Like, was she drunk? Like, what was this at night? Was it?
Yeah, this was at night. And she was in a pool too. So there was this other couple, and like they were all in.
Like she's in labor, and then you pick up a drunk girl.
I think maybe the couple did like she was already in the back seat, so then this random couple gets in. I think one was like shotgun, one was in the back with her, and then she just was like looking out the window and just like kaboom.
Yeah.
And then they were like,
Oh,
"We're gonna get
man.
out here."
Yeah.
And she was actually really, really apologetic and nice about it. So I
Uh-huh.
wasn't really mad at her.
Yeah, well, I feel like by the time you're puking and drunk, like most people are pretty apologetic.
Yeah, she was like
Trying
as
to
handled it
apologize,
as well as like she was like, this happens all the time. Like this
does
is
it?
not
This
her
is my
first rodeo.
thing.
And then I ended up getting like my car. It was weird. Like I made more money. You make more money if someone throws up in your car.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
Because they
nice.
get charged, which is kind of, you feel kind of bad for them, but also
But
you're
not
like, what
really,
am I
'cause they
going to do?
parked in your
Yeah.
front
So they
yard.
get, yes, exactly. So they get charged like a big fee,
Mhm.
and then you get that fee, and then I spent like half the fee to get my car like cleaned on the inside.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
word? Detailed, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh-huh,
yeah.
uh-huh.
So, but then by the time it was all said and done, I was like, I'm at like 75 profit on this girl puking. Like if a girl could puke in my car every day, I would be making
We'd
more
be all
money
right.
than
Uh-huh,
driving
uh-huh.
regular.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
You just have like old eggs in your car and stuff, and just trying to get people to puke.
The weird thing is like
Garbage in the trunk.
you have to
Hey, you want some
document it.
mustard?
And the like everybody on Google, everyone on like Reddit and stuff is like it's like turn your flash on, like make the crime scene pop. Like
Oh.
you have to like prove to Lyft that someone threw up in
Right.
your car.
Uh-huh.
That was weird.
Tell
But yeah,
us how it
there's like
smells.
you're standing outside like this
Lick it.
apartment building, and she's
Mhm.
like screaming for her boyfriend to come down, and he won't. And
Mhm.
like you're just like, what is my I was on Conan. Like
She was like, yeah. She's like screaming for her boyfriend to come out, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave with," and looks at her phone. She's like, "Brad," and you're like, "No, don't put me in this. I don't want to be
yeah,
involved in your fight."
we had no chemistry. But yeah, that was between like my second and third Conan appearances was that year of just like being miserable driving Lyft.
Oh man.
You couldn't put like on the on your Lyft profile, you couldn't say Brad from Conan.
I got recognized a couple times,
Oh,
not
yeah?
from Conan, but from like, I saw you at
Show
this
or
show,
something. Yeah.
and then you're
Oh,
like,
man.
cool.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
again,
Well-
shit.
Off
Yeah.
to this next place.
Yeah, they're just like, "Oh man, is this like a bit you're doing for a TV show, or what are you doing?" Nope, just working.
Nope.
Nope, just sad.
just real
I made
tired.
a big mistake.
Did you find like, some people who do ride shares are like, they pick a time, they're like, I'll only do midnight to 4 a.m. or whatever. Did you make any rules for yourself about like,
I drove
because you could
once
drive for
I-
14 fucking hours if you're not
Yeah,
careful.
I would completely avoid rush hour
Mhm.
because it
Mhm.
just didn't seem worth it.
No one's
and
satisfied.
the stress and like the money, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, it's just not. So I would drive during the day,
Mhm.
and then I got in this fender bender, and that kind of like I was like suspended for like a month or something, or
Uh-huh.
like a couple weeks.
Mhm.
Had to get like the mirror fixed on my car, and then I was kind of shaken up by that. So then I was like, I'm just gonna drive at night.
Mhm.
And then that was actually pretty nice driving at night.
Yeah,
and then
because not as many people
that
on the
wasn't
road-
too
on the road.
bad. It was just like hard because you would like go and try to do like shows, and then like
And
you're
then
like,
get
should I
your
be
car.
like, should I go to a mic, or should I like try to like make money?
Yeah.
And so that
Uh-huh.
was like a constant like battle. And then eventually I like the algorithm like got hip to me, and it felt like it didn't want me to drive at night as much,
Really?
or
Really, like it
I had
wasn't
like a
giving you.
decent rating, but it just felt like I was like could get pretty steady rides for a while, and then something changed. It felt like any app, like where there's just an update and you're like, well, it's different now.
Yeah.
And it felt like the same way, like I couldn't get rides as much. And then at a certain point, I was just like, I really need to stop this and get a regular job.
Uh-huh.
And then right at that like same point, I like caught some like comedy breaks, and I was like, okay, I can go to like full-time comedy.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was Lyft sucks.
Yeah. It sounds pretty awful.
Yeah, I've never looked at it and been like, I have, every now and then been like, oh, I could try, and then 2 seconds after that, I'm like, no, because
No.
I basically did the same math. It's like you might as well just have a regular fucking job with one location and not your car careening
It would
around
have
the
been
streets.
way better if I because I looked into it and it was kind of like, hey, you need commercial car insurance, or your
Right.
car insurance, your regular car insurance won't cover you
Right.
if you get in an accident while driving Lyft. And I was
Right.
like, well, this car is the most valuable thing to ever enter my life. I need to have insurance. So I was paying like double for like car insurance. So I was just like getting crushed by that. And then like I think most people drive Lyft are just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna have my regular car insurance and just like hope for the best.
If I die, I die.
But then if they get in a bad car accident, they're just gonna be fucked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think I maybe I researched that a little bit more, and then I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry, this has just turned into me earnestly being like, it's a bad company.
Yeah, no, that's what we're about. We want to know
all about
it. Did you have that super expensive insurance when you got in that fender bender?
Yeah, so like I was fine, and then that guy didn't
did
even.
You have that? Did you have that moment though where you were like, "Oh fuck yeah, fuck you, Lyft gods"? Like,
I definitely wasn't worried about that. I was worried about my rates going up and stuff, but then it was there was like no damage other than like a mark on the other guy, and so he didn't like. Neither of us like pursued it, and I just got my mirror fixed.
Yeah,
but that was a stressful day. That was the angriest I've ever been, probably.
Really?
At the dude?
At myself.
Right.
It was my like fault, and then I was like, I had like a car full of people. It was terrible. Like I was taking like all like what do you the words escaping me, the pool. I was taking a Lyft pool packed with people to the airport.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh shit.
Got in this like got this dude like took my mirror off basically. I was trying to like merge. And then like had to let them all out. They all had to find new lifts like during rush hour
right,
to get to their flights. So
which
they're
they
all
were not
very
upset
upset.
They were so pissed,
obviously. And then like, oh man, it was terrible. It was terrible. It was a total night. And just like driving home with no mirror. And then I was like finally by myself, and I was just like so mad at myself because I was like, this is already such an uphill thing I shouldn't be doing, and then I like made it worse. I was so mad at myself.
Yeah. But I mean also like, you know, to some degree it's like that's exactly what's I mean like you I hate to sound like a grandpa. People completely underestimate how dangerous cars are all the time. You know, like it's the most dangerous thing we do any day by a huge margin, you know? And so that you increase the amount of time you drive, like, of course you're going to, statistically, you're just going to run into shit.
And I like caved to like peer pressure. Like the girl in the like passenger seat was like, just merge here, like my shortcut. And I should have just been like, no.
Right.
But I was like, customer service. I guess I'm going to listen to this person for no reason. And then I took my mirror off. And then I was like, you need to like stop trying to please people.
A little life lesson there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fuck. But that drive back, man, and the silence and the traffic.
No mirror. So it's like hard to drive.
Yeah. And like, there's no peaceful, like, what's the word? There's very little like contemplative flow in driving in LA. So like even as you're driving home, you're probably just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
You're not just like, there's no just like one hand on the wheel, just like fuck this fucking shit.
No, not at all.
That's
like
dodge.
I've been in other cities like on the road and gotten a Lyft to get somewhere and been like, this is really peaceful. Like I bet driving Lyft in Memphis, Tennessee is really nice during the day.
It's probably all right. Yeah.
And like the minimum fare seemed higher and stuff, but I'm like, driving in LA is stressful.
Yeah.
Sucks, dude. Sucks balls. Fucking
I would say the same thing. I remember taking a Lyft in Austin, Texas, like to the airport, and it was just beautiful, quiet drive, you know. And then it's like immediately taking a lift home from LAX from there, and like you get in, and the guy's like, "You like X-Files?" And you're like, "Oh God, you're like, you're a
100%.
He's
Yeah,
like rolling his window down, just like punching other cars' hoods.
yeah.
It's like,
I
trying to get in front of him.
I had a good gig at a printing place. I had that between the golf course and
what place?
leaving Michigan. A printing place that printed
Printing place.
yearbooks. That was a
Oh.
good gig.
Yeah, that sounds like a good gig.
Mhm.
That was picking the driving range, but like all day. Like I never had to talk to anybody.
Mhm.
Great
Just
gig.
reading yearbook quotes from high schoolers. More Green Day lyrics. Cool.
I had to run a giant printer, and the ink cartridges were like the size of my leg, and I'd put those
shit.
bad boys in there.
Wow, load them up.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You know, you forget about just like the locksmith thing. Like, there's a lot of niche industries that need, you know, people just to do the thing. You know, nothing crazy, nothing special. You know, like printing yearbooks. You know, their whole fucking business. They just got a contract with like how many schools? You know, one county, a couple counties, and they need people to just help with that.
You'd print boxes and boxes of yearbooks and count them out and seal them up
Just
in
like
boxes.
sign them yourselves.
Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and run this huge like dumpster size printer. And then like my boss would like flip through them, and if there was like a printing error, there would just be like a little like line on like one of the page, but it would make the same error on like all of them. She would be like, it would just be like 500 of these in the trash. Like these are duds.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I remember paying for yearbooks. They're like fucking $50 or some shit.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, you got to get some premium. I mean, fuck that whole fucking racket, by the way. But like, I just remember being like, I'm a kid, and this seems like so much money.
It was funny because it was
for an
called
adult to pay.
schoolpictures.com, but it was a physical place. But the business was called that. That's like what the sign said.
Right.
But it was a school that got turned into this business. So it was an old school that got turned into a printing business. So there was like hallways, and like all the classrooms were different like departments.
Wow.
Feels haunted.
Trevor Smith, Trevor's done this. Trevor Smith worked there first, and then he got me the gig.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice one, Trev.
Trev's got the inside line on a lot of weird jobs you don't know about.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, he's one of my dear friends for years. I still have no idea what he does.
Yeah.
No, he has
I've
a
asked
vague
him
job
several times, and he's
It's an
told me
office
in detail, and
I'll
I still
tell you
don't get
that.
it.
He wears a button-up shirt there, and people need him.
He explains it in a very Trev way. Where by
He
the
does.
end, I'm like, I've
he does
learned
kind of go.
nothing.
Trev does. There's a bit of a triangulation to the explanation
Yeah.
before you land on it.
Trev never takes the same route to his own house twice. You know?
Yeah, well, that's wild. Brad, we always try to close the pod with 3 questions just to make sure we covered everything. And for the worst job lift, question number 1 of our 3 is, when were you done and how did you quit? Obviously with Lyft, you just stopped doing it, but when did you decide like I need to stop doing it? And then when did you actually stop doing it after that?
I think it was pretty close together. I was like, I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to try to get a regular job.
Yeah.
And just by stopping doing this and changing my insurance, I will already be like so much, my like existence will be so much easier month to month.
Yeah.
And then I got like, I forget what it's called, where you're like, you're paying into something as you go. So then when you cancel that policy, you get like a big chunk of money back.
Oh, like
I forget the word for it.
Like a prorated rent, but it's reverse.
Yeah,
of that.
something like that. And so like, not only did I was like, oh, I get to stop paying the super high insurance. I got like a big chunk of money. Like just they're like, this is just yours. And I was like, oh, great. I'm like already doing better than I was.
I'm rich
I should quit Lyft all the time.
I remember it was actually the day, it wasn't planned this way or based on this at all, but it was like the day I did Conan the third time that I was like, I am officially like done driving Lyft, and they were not related at all.
Right.
It was just like, hey, what a great day. I got this insurance money back and I'm going to go do this cool thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it was like me trying to get a job at Coffee Bean, and it didn't work out. Nick was in on that. That was Nick's thing.
Well, I was trying to get you a job at Pete's.
Pete's, that's that's probably why I
Nick
didn't
has
get
tried to
it. I was kept calling it Coffee Bean.
Pete's or Coffee Bean.
I remember trying to get you
You're
a
like-
job there, and my boss was like, he doesn't have a whole lot of job experience, and I was just like, yeah, but he's cool. Like, I was like, because we had such good banter and like hangout culture there at that particular job that I was like, yeah, no, I get that, but like seriously, you can teach anyone to do this job, and like just think about the bits, man. Like
I wrote
like,
burned
it's gonna be cool to hang out.
cardboard on the resume. I don't know what more he wanted. What is coffee if not burning cardboard?
I completely agree.
Hey man, I was right there with you.
So that makes sense. Just bye time, and also you got rich from your own money again. So let it go. Question number 2 is, what's one good thing you took from that very bad job?
One good thing. God, there's just nothing redeeming about Lyft. I think it's a scam.
I agree. I agree with you. Well, I mean, you said
no. I am trying to think of a. Oh, I learned geographically Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware as much. Now I before that I didn't know like to the degree like the different neighborhoods and where what way is what. And now I when I'm just driving around on my own, I have like a sense of where I am all the time.
Right.
Because I was just driving all over LA for a year. So that was good. That was good.
Yeah. A sense of place. Okay, well then question number 3, not related to that bad job. There's been a pandemic. A lot of careers and dreams and aspirations have been sidelined or paused or whatever. How are you doing with that? What are your thoughts?
I'm going insane, but I'm hanging in there. I'm like, I always say, I feel like, because people, everyone's experiences it where people like check in on you, and we all check in on each other with her, and I'm always just find myself being like, I'm not broke or dead,
right?
Or, so like that, like okay, that like if things could be so much worse, but they could be so much better. So I'm just like kind of grateful things aren't worse. But yeah, creatively and stuff, like it sucks. I just feel like I'm in a vacuum. So like stand up, I'm just like writing. I never stopped writing jokes, and I just pile them up, and I'm like, hopefully I still have a sense of what's funny. And these work when things open back up. So I just feel like I keep just throwing stuff on the pile. And then I started a podcast with Mike Czar, who's a comedian in New York, who I started with in the Midwest. And we it's called Quiz Me Dude. And we each pick a topic to Google, and then we just quiz each other on the topic. And that's been fun. We have a few episodes up. We had to take a break for a minute, but we're going to try to do some more. But that's given me a little bit of like, oh, I have a project.
Yeah.
And then like over the summer, I wrote a pilot, which I feel like is the very LA pandemic-y thing to do.
But not everybody's doing that. I mean, I haven't written a pilot over. So
well, you're not going to make it, Chase. I mean, that. No, but I mean, like you do that. And then for me, I'm like, I felt like I took it as far as I could go, and then eventually you're kind of like, this seems done-ish, or as far as I can take it right now. So yeah, I just really, really miss stand-up. I did one Zoom show on New Year's Eve, and it was great. I had heard mixed things. And so the one I did was like awesome, and I was like flying so high off of that. I had the full adrenaline rush of having a good show, and I was like, this is what it's like to be alive. Like I hadn't had that like in a year. So I really miss stand up, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with things being on hold.
Yeah, fair.
I hear you. I haven't felt alive in a very long time either, for the record.
Well, yeah, you broke your foot. You went.
Oh,
You
man,
went
yeah.
back home. You just had a whole thing to overcome.
I tried to see how more quarantined I could get. What if I couldn't even leave the bed?
Where would COVID be then? Well, Brad, where can people find you on the internet if you'd like to be found? Obviously, your podcast, we'll put a link to that in the show notes.
Thanks. At Brad Wenzel on Instagram and Twitter. I got an album out from a few years ago called Sweet Nothings. All the links are on my social media stuff. There's I'm sure it'll still be up, but there's a GoFundMe for the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, which is a comedy club in Michigan where I started out, and they've been on the ropes from the pandemic. So they got a GoFundMe, and if they can hit their goal, they might be able to, make it out of this thing. So I've been pushing that really hard with other comics, trying to help that club. So that also, those links are all on my social media stuff. So trying to save that club, because some of these clubs, like in Michigan, it's different in every state, but like they've been closed for about a year.
Yep.
But they have to pay their landlord the whole time. So these businesses are just getting like bled dry.
Yeah.
So trying to save those clubs so we have places to go back to when this thing is over.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And that I'll make sure the GoFundMe link will be in there too. So it'll be a little list of links. So click on that one, or you can go to Brad's Instagram.
Boring sick kids or anything. We're doing comedy clubs.
That's amazing. Well, thank you, Brad, for joining us. It's
cool. Thanks for having me, guys.
And fuck this place.
Sorry I yelled so much.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Don't forget to subscribe and review and rate it. You know how it goes. If you are looking for a write-in here, don't worry. We've got more coming down the pike. So you're just going to have to wait. But we'll see you next week. Okay, bye for now.